Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Office Hours, this special early morning edition of Office Hours. Thank you for your flexibility today. I have some appointments that I have to do a little bit later this morning, so a change from our usual time, but here we are. Thank you very much, everybody. Welcome to, I should say, Office Hours. Welcome, everybody. 9:05. Yeah, sorry, I got a little bit of a late start here. Yes, absolutely. Shark Brothers will do. Good morning, Jonathan. Welcome. Like the image, Jonathan. That's cool. Welcome, everybody. If this is your first office hours, let me just explain briefly how it works. These are pure Q&A. I don't have any agenda for you other than to try to help. So you can put your questions into the comments here, and I will go through them. I'm also going to go and take a look at questions in our community to see if there's anything open there that I can answer. And then as well, I will put in a link here. If you have a question that is longer, needs more context, maybe need to share your screen for something, anything like that. Hey, Brock, good to see you, sir. Then you can use that link and it will bring you on camera with me. And then we can have a little bit more of a conversation. So anything that's going to be a little more challenging than, just doing in the comments, you can, and we'll have a conversation through that screen share, okay? Or having you on camera. So welcome. I hope you had a great week. It's been a fast week for me. Been lots going on. And my daughter is in a play. She does lots of acting, and she is in a play this week. So she's been doing her final rehearsals for this play, which that means this week she's in rehearsals from 4:30 in the afternoon until 8:30, 9:30 at night. And then she's got all her schoolwork and all that stuff. So it's been busy just taking her back and forth, and also just trying to make sure that we keep up with normal life. So, but it's been a good week. I hope yours has as well. So, all right, awesome. We've got some questions coming in here, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Shark Brothers, I see you back there. I will have you on here in just a few moments. Jonathan says, hey, Mike, I'm working on the free website offer. I haven't nailed down the vertical I want to choose yet. I've worked with home remodelers and contractors, but do you think contractors is too broad? Also, is there a guaranteed provide for this service? For example, if you don't love your new site, get your money back. Don't want to overpromise on any results off the bat. Okay, well, Jonathan, no, I think contractors is fine. I think generally contractors of all sorts call themselves contractors. So I think it's fine. I think that you could also, though, market to contractors generally. And then when they come to your site, you could have like some language, some demo sites that are, specific to a variety of different types of contractors, so they could see themselves maybe a little bit more there. So they come to your site, there's a kitchen remodeling, there's a plumber site, there's, that type of thing that you could just show as like kind of demonstration images. You could also, though, just put language there. I think having the images, of course, of seeing some sites and seeing what they could potentially get will help sell the whole thing. So that would be my recommendation. But I think generally you could just speak to the contractor market, and I think that you're going to be just fine. A guarantee, I don't know that you really need a guarantee for a free website. So getting your money back makes it kind of, it's a free website. So there's not a whole money back type of thing, right? I don't think that you need a guarantee at all. It's a free site. That's a compelling enough offer that I don't see any need for anything more compelling. There's not really much that's going to make it more compelling than that. So I think you're all set. Joe says, can you give any advice on how to find and hire commission-based sales reps? Yes, I certainly can, Joe. I have done a lot of 100% commission-only sales teams in my career. So the most important advice that I would give you is to understand that 100% commission means that you need to have a model that will show them in a very clear way, and that is real. I want to stress that. I don't want you to just make up some numbers. You need to have a real model where you can show them getting to six figures in income and the path to do that relatively quickly. Okay, because there are not a lot of salespeople out there that can afford to go for a considerable length of time without getting income coming in, right? So even if they've got that mindset, they're kind of this entrepreneurial mindset and they're hunters and they want to go for it, that doesn't mean that they have a lot of savings just sitting around, right? If they had a lot of savings just sitting around, they would probably just start their own business or, something like that, right? So you've got to give them a clear path, and a clear path to six figures is the milestone that I think is necessary, especially in today's world. Like that is a big enough number that people see it as a prize worth working towards, right? So you've got to be able to show that. You've got to be able to show how. You've got to be able to show a practical path. Okay. Now, in order to do that, to show that path, you really should have your sales process and your numbers figured out. Okay. Before I brought on 100% commission salespeople, I had sold myself for a couple of years and was generating good income. So I could show people, here is how you do it. Here are the scripts. Here's the process. Here's how you handle these objections, right? So if you don't have that, and you're talking about bringing on 100% commission salespeople, you really need to be very honest with them that it's like, hey, you're winging it here. Like I'm, like you're if you're being honest with them, it's like you're trying to shift just all the risk of trying to figure out how to get customers over to them. Some people may take that risk, and that's fine. Okay, but be honest with them so that they know what they're getting into, because otherwise that's pretty sketchy. So bringing them on board, finding them is pretty darn easy. It's just posting ads. Just I would post on Craigslist. I would post anywhere that I could, saying that this is a 100% commission sales job. I would be very clear about that. I would put that out on social media, wherever you can put it, saying, stressing the benefits of this is 100% commission, but you have no cap on your earnings. So if you're a hustler, if you're somebody that really wants to work and get after it, and you're looking for an entrepreneurial opportunity without the risk and investment of starting your own business from scratch, this can be a fantastic way to achieve that, right? So that's kind of the messaging that you want to stress. And then you're hiring them, so they're 100% commission. I mean, really, they're there, completely voluntarily. And so you need to understand that and respect that. And what I mean by that is that you need to do everything that you possibly can to give them the resources to be successful. So even though they're 100% commission, you need to treat them like, hey, this is my salaried sales team. I'm going to give them all the training, all the support. I'm going to be there to ask questions. I'll jump on calls with them, whatever I need to do to make them feel supported and that they have the resources to be successful. Because if they don't, they're going to get bitter quickly. They're going to be like, why am I doing this? I'm taking all this risk and you're not even there really to support me. And then I would just say that anything that you can do to accelerate commissions, you should do. Okay, so the worst thing that you can do, as an example, let's say you're selling services, in the agency business, and I don't know, I'm assuming almost everybody in my community right now is focused on that. So let's say that you're selling and you're using my approach or the systems as a service approach. You've got a $497 a month package, and they go out and they do the hustle and they find somebody and they sign them up at $497 a month. And you say, well, the commission on that is 25%. And so you start cutting them a check for $100 and whatever a month, because that's what their commission would be. that's a pretty darn defeating experience for somebody who's really gone out and worked their tail off to go out and get you a customer. Especially that first one can take some time, right? You're learning, you're figuring things out. Maybe you're not really providing them leads because you're not doing a bunch of marketing, so they're just like truly going out and cold hustling. That's tough. So you've got to understand that mindset that you need to give them a win. And so ideally, you can front load commission and say, hey, look, you went out and did the hustle. That's awesome. That's your first win. $200 a month commission over the course of a year. That would be $2,400. I'm going to go ahead and give you, $2,400 today, assuming that they want that. This is what I did is I said, look, I can give you a year of commission up front, or you can get lifetime commission recurring. So I gave them the choice. And what salespeople did, and I gave them the choice on every deal. So what salespeople would do once they got momentum is if let's say they'd sign 6 customers in a month, they would choose, on 3 of them to take the upfront commission, and then on 3 of them to take commission for life, right? But they get it monthly. And so that way there's this balance so that they can earn recurring revenue. And what happened, which was awesome, is I ended up with some salespeople that, got their recurring revenue built up and then went and, did something else, did like semi-retirement, which was an awesome feeling. It's like, oh, wow, that's cool. So you got to give them some options though. And you may be thinking, Mike, I can't afford to give a year's worth of commission up front. No sweat. There's 2 things that you can do. One, make sure that you have the surge fees. If you go to my Surge to SaaS, training in a high leverage agency, in the boot camp that I just did this week for selling, you should have an upfront surge fee. Okay. And that upfront surge fee can be used to then pay out to the salesperson. It's essentially an onboarding fee, a startup fee, that type of thing. You're going to have to do that work anyway for the customer to get them onto your platform. But if you can capture $1,500, $2,500, $5,000 in some sort of startup fee, then you can use that to pay out your salesperson a real nice upfront commission and then not really be out of pocket on any cash yourself. So you've got to figure out the financial models to be able to give them wins and to be able to give them enough cash upfront to survive, or else you're going to get a lot of turnover. You're going to get people who sell for 3 months and they're just like, I'm out, man. So make sure that you're giving them resources to be successful, the training, the support. Make sure that you're doing marketing. If you're not doing marketing and trying to generate some leads for them, build some brand, build some credibility that they can lean on to sell, you're really, cutting their legs out from under them. Make sure that you are thinking through the model of how you can give some cash up front. Also, the other thing I was going to say about, if you give somebody cash up front and let's say that customer cancels after 4 months, you could claw back that commission. You can have a clawback cause where you say, hey, now there's 8 months of commission that you got paid for that you didn't actually earn. I would be careful with that. In my mind, once a customer has come on board and they've made it through that first 30 days, that's my job as the entrepreneur and as the service organization to keep them. If I let that sale get closed, with an unqualified customer, that was my fault. I shouldn't let unqualified deals close. But if it's closed and I think it's a qualified deal and 2 months into it, they then cancel, that was probably a screw up on the service organization side, not on the salesperson. So I very rarely ever clawed back commissions on my salespeople. I mean, it happened maybe a handful of times over years because I would take ownership of that. So, because nothing is worse if the salesperson sells for you and then they get their commission clawed back after 3 months because they can watch and they're like, yeah, you're just screwing up the service, man. Like, why should I pay for that? So that's a lot of, I hope there's some wisdom in there for you. I've done a lot of that and there's a lot of mistakes made and it's easy to screw this up. And I think a lot of people go into this 100% commission sales rep thing with the mindset of, oh, it's just kind of free money for me. I'm just going to get a bunch of people out there selling and it doesn't cost me anything. It's not true. It costs you plenty. You're going to have to be ready to support them, ready to do marketing, ready to pay them when they actually get some success. And then most importantly, fulfill on the promises of what they sold so that you can make sure that you're actually keeping those customers and it's not going backwards on you. Okay. So I hope that helps you. Brock says, do you give full access to the client to the automation section? Since we're building it, they don't really need it. Issues, they can break something too, they can copy it. Yeah, I'm not worried at all, Barack, about them copying it. I would not be concerned about that at all. That's one of those things that I think we build up in our minds that maybe it's going to happen once every 200 customers that they're going to copy your stuff and steal from you. Don't worry about that. But can they get in there and screw stuff up? Yes. Do they need access to everything in most cases for small businesses? No. So no, I typically do not worry about giving them access to everything. And I say worry. I do worry about giving them access to everything. So I do not promise access to everything. Most small businesses do not care, do not want to know anything about that stuff. You are just exposing yourself to, yes, some mistakes being made, people screwing stuff up, things like that. I can tell you what we've done is in cases we've customized the UI of high level, which you can do. You can hire somebody to do pretty darn easily for you. So certain things aren't visible to them. You may want to go that approach. High level is getting better and better with the granularity of what you can turn on and off for customers, but still you may find that you want to do some of that. Dawson, good to see you, my man. Welcome back. It's been a little while since I've seen you. Hope you're doing well. I'm getting signups for my lead magnets and they're going through the follow-up emails. That's great. Without scheduling a call. What else can I do with these leads? Shane, just continue to follow up. It really is just an understanding of the nature of these customers in the market that we're selling into. Okay. Very few customers or prospects, I should say, are sitting around going, I want to do this today. Right. And taking the step of booking a call with somebody is actually, it's a big commitment in today's world. It's like, okay, I know I'm going to spend time now and I know I'm going to get sold, somebody's going to be selling me. It's kind of a pain in the neck. So like me as an example, as a potential customer, I do everything I can to avoid phone calls with anybody. Like I never schedule calls with anybody. I never get on the phone. If somebody calls me, I never pick up. And I think that that's just more and more the world, how people operate now. Like they expect to just be able to do things in email and SMS and, sign up for things when they want to. Combine that with the fact that, again, most small businesses are not sitting around thinking, I'm going to sign up for whatever this is today. They've got interest. They're doing some research. They are, busy with all their other stuff and they want to get to this, but it may just take some time. And you've just got to appreciate that. And that's why having as much volume in the top of funnel as you can is critical. So the most important thing, Shane, is that you don't stop. You want to get as many people into that top of funnel as you possibly can. And then the other most important thing is that you just keep following up and nurturing. So sending out a regular newsletter with value-add content, recording videos, publishing blog posts, things like that, and just continuing to stay in front of them with activity. And it's, I hate to say it's a numbers game, but it's a numbers game. If you've got 100 of them in that top of the funnel, statistically, the number that I see tossed around, and I think it's relatively accurate, is that like 7%. So 7 out of those 100 are in current buying mode for what we're potentially selling. And when I say current buying mode, to me, the sales cycle for a small business for a service like this is somewhere in 30 to 60 days. So 7%, 7 of those in the next 30 to 60 days are actually thinking about making a buying decision. The rest of them are still in some sort of research mode. So you've just got to understand those numbers, get realistic about those numbers and play with them. And let's say that you want to sign 4 or 5 deals every single month. 4 or 5 deals. Let's say you have a 30% close rate. So let's say that we have to have 15 meetings. So 15 meetings to have that with the 7% number, right? That means that roughly 200 at least people in that funnel. But that's assuming that all of them decide to do their research and book with you rather than booking with somebody else. That's obviously not realistic. So let's double that number. So let's say we've got 400 or 500 active prospects in our funnel. So we've got to work those numbers up to make sure that we're dealing with some realistic numbers. The nice thing is for you and for everybody, once you get to that point where you've filled your funnel, let's say with a few thousand active prospects that are, in there, just kind of paying attention, they're checking out your newsletter every once in a while, things like that, the numbers start to get really darn consistent. You start to get that bottom, assuming your messaging and everything is correct, you start to get that bottom of the funnel activity really nice and consistent. You start to have 10 proposals that you're sending out every month or whatever your sales process is, whether it's proposals or not, but you're sending out that information and you're getting 4 or 5 of them, closing every month. So you just got to stick with it, Shane. I would just encourage you to, again, just make sure that you're blocking and tackling just the fundamentals, right? Just keeping the marketing activity for top of funnel up, making sure that you're nurturing and continuing to put good content out there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Shark Brothers, you were first up. Are you still back there? And gosh darn it, I can't remember your actual name. I know we've talked before.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, how's it going, guys? We got both the brothers here now. That's awesome.
2 for the price of 1.
Good to see you.
That's great. How's it going?
Good. I'm Sean. This is my brother Brooks.
Hey, great. Nice to meet you.
The brains and the brawn.
All right.
I don't know about that.
You can fight over which one's better looking, right?
Yeah.
Well, people sometimes say, man, you guys look alike. And I say, that makes him a really lucky guy, doesn't it?
That's awesome.
So listen, man, we wanted to get your take on a decision that we're about to make based on what's going on with A2P and the carriers and all that sort of cumbersome obstacle course that's been created for getting numbers verified. It's unfortunate, and I know High Level's doing their ever best to get, they're sort of at the mercy of what's going on there. Sort of a tug of war. We all got to sit on the sidelines and watch. So what we're looking to do, and just first, that's what you're hearing. I guess, that's kind of a common thing that's going on right now.
Yeah. Yep.
It's we talked to some buddies of ours that, are running, we do DRs, we do the review generation, we do all those kind of things. And the pitch to somebody, we got warm leads, we got current customers that we've added these things to what we were already doing for them, with our other services. And in terms of that, you ask for the EIN verification letter, you get these other things sorted out. And so, the pitch is always great because results first, sell the hole, not the drill. And, we can get you, acceleration in your reviews, get your local rankings up. We can get you, offers sent out to your warm market in your database. All that sounds great. They're shaking their head. Yeah, let's do this. So all we got to do is, and then you start going down the list and setting the expectation of these hoops that you got to jump through. And we're going to sideline it for now because it's the confidence level of doing that and having somebody sit there and look at you like, what you're doing when you have these sort of perilous pitfalls coming up in the process. It's not working. So with that said,
let me ask you, what niche are you focused on, just so I understand, or is there a focus?
Yeah, home services.
Home services. Okay, cool.
Yeah, tree companies, different types of contractors like that. And so the thing that we're looking at now, and we've been, looking at it from the sidelines, I'm using that term again, is the AI receptionist. Yeah, and we're looking to lead with that as our offer because we feel like the value in the database reactivations, the value in the review generation, all that stuff, there's no doubt the value in that. But this really to us feels like a solution to one of the most common problems: speed to lead loss, efficiency, expense cutting, all those things.
Poor customer service. Just trying to get a hold of a contractor as a customer, trying to get a hold of a contractor, it's a nightmare.
Exactly.
Yeah. So feeling like I have an actual process for there's somebody, even if it's an AI voice, there's somebody that's going to pick up the phone, get the communication to the contractor so that the contractor can respond to me. I mean, just that's a massive. I was just talking about this last week where I was like, gosh, like if you're a contractor and you just follow any of the basics of common sense customer service and execution of systems and stuff like that to support you, it just seems like there's no end to the opportunity, because it is so hard to find anybody that you can actually get a reliable call back or communication from, even if it's not a call. I mean, just something. So I 100% agree with the approach. Okay. And I think that the great thing is that buys you time, right? Yep. So, you still want to move forward with trying to get them the smart number and stuff, but it gives you time that you can then, okay, we're executing on this. And then you're immediately starting the process if they're open to, those additional services of working to get them a smart number, and that takes some time, and that's fine. Exactly. So I 100% agree. I didn't mean to cut you off, and so you can, continue with what you're thinking, but.
No, yeah, 100%
right. It just makes complete sense to me. Is having somebody in house, and then they don't call in sick. You don't have workman comp claims. You don't have, it just seems like and it's come so far, as we all know.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that this is true of almost every small business. I mean, here in San Diego, I go out to eat constantly. I mean, my business is supporting restaurants, right? For the most part. Mm-hmm. So I cannot tell you the number of restaurants that I cannot get in touch with or get any sort of response from. I mean, the only thing that I can do is get online and hopefully book a reservation through their reservation booking system if they have that. A lot of them don't even have that. So then you try and call. I mean, maybe 10% of the time does somebody actually pick up the phone. If I leave a voicemail, I mean, maybe 1 in 100 do I actually hear back from somebody.
Wow.
It's insane. And it's a competitive industry. And the challenge is they can't afford to have people. I mean, it's a brutally cost intensive business, so.
And they can't keep employees.
They can't keep employed. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to hire somebody in Southern California and pay them minimum wage, and how long are they going to last? I mean,
we just had that experience with a very big restaurant here in Southwest Florida in Venice, and I was shocked when I called them, and it made me start thinking. We've also got some. I'll tell you about that in a second, but I called them, and it was for a huge restaurant like that, to not be able to have some kind of a confidence that you're going to get a reservation, because now you're thinking, well, I got to wait for them to call me back, so I can't really make the plan. It was a business meeting that we were going to have to confidently say, yeah, we've got the reservation, we're going to be there. So it kind of makes you wonder how much of a powerful solution this really is, even for restaurants. Because if you can tap into their calendar and their availabilities, and a restaurant owner comes in the next day, he's got 10 calls, he's got to follow up with these people. Now it's phone tag to get a reservation booked. And how efficient is that for a mom and pop restaurant, that they can't do that. Instead, they come in the next day and they've got, 6 reservations booked.
Yeah.
In the morning.
And so easy with the voice AI to say, oh, you need directions? Yeah, we can send you directions. You need our menu? Yeah, we can send you our menu. You need the link to book a reservation? Yes. You need a callback? Sure, we can do that too. We'll get you a callback. Like you can address all of those very common things very, very simply now and effectively. So, and the other thing I was just going to bring up, the A2P. I'm assuming, and I'm not completely familiar with these things because I'm not pushing on this hard like some people are, but you're trying all the different tools and shenanigans to get like numbers in advance and then reassign them and all that type of stuff.
Yeah. Well, Clay Lawrence tipped us off on that strategy. Mm-hmm. Great interview that you did with him. And we were going to start doing that, but then we realized, the problem is, between and high level, in their best intentions with their tech support, there's varying, somebody would look at what we've got, the registration. They say, no, this looks really good. Terms and conditions, all that stuff, privacy policy. And then we'd submit it, get rejected. We call back. And then the next tech support person said, I don't know why they told you that, because you actually have to have it this way. And then you ultimately find out that outside of high level, and this is to their, credit to them, that they're at the mercy of the carriers. Now you got Twilio, who's actually the crossing guard for whether or not you get it. And it's totally objective, because we did a test. We submitted one, a self-defense company, firearms training company we worked with for like 5 years. We're actually partners in that venture. But we We sent one, it got rejected. And I said, you know what? I'm going to send it again. I'm not going to change the damn thing. And it cleared.
Went through.
So the
There's
objectivity,
no rhyme or reason.
so all of that, you can't really have the confidence to set an expectation for a client with this great pitch, and we're going to get you these results. And then there's this but.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. It's tough right now. And I think that, yes, if you can lead with other solutions that buy you some time, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. And we can get around the A2P because as long as we're not texting, we can do emails.
Yep.
We can send an email. But what's the goal? Take care of customer service. You can send this learning bot in there, learns their whole website.
Totally.
You've got all these answers that the beck and call, but it's really, the prompts are going to be first name, last name, phone number, and an email address if that works.
Yeah.
And now and then you can send internal notifications to somebody on a sales team or the business owner or whoever it is. And a small business, people think small business, they're barely getting by. A small business technically can be making $1 million a year.
Yeah, for sure.
But would they like to make 1.2? 1.5 and help them scale, because what are they leaving on the field in terms of lost leads or bad customer service? And so we think this can address both. And we were just looking to, hopefully get a vote of confidence from you on doing that. Yeah. And we've got 2 power partners that one guy's done our SEO for years, and he's got dozens of home service companies across the country.
Awesome.
And another guy's, launching a magazine with a digital version of it, and he's doing ads. He's been doing that for years. And so he's got entree to all these small businesses in our area, and we just think we can partner with them, make it fair for everybody, and go for it. It's the way of the future. It's the hottest ticket in town. It's not going anywhere, and everybody understands AI. And, and you don't hide it. You don't try to pretend it's a real person. You just say hi. When they answer, you can say something like, I'm a trained automated assistant here to answer your questions if you're an existing customer or you're interested in our services. So it's just. People are used
it's only going to get better at an exponential rate. I mean, it's just going to continue getting better. 3 months from now, you're going to be like, oh man, it's crushing what we were doing 3 months ago. So, and I think, it's really important, a really important message for everybody, because there's a lot of people who come into high level who still think of it as primarily a texting platform.
Right.
Like that's like the central value proposition of the platform. And at the very beginning, that literally was the value proposition of the platform.
Yep.
There's still a lot of people that get brought in by affiliates that are, teaching something that's text related. My gosh, there is so much breadth and depth and value that you can provide a small business of any type other than text. In the high value, in the high level system now, that you've got to realize, oh my gosh, I have so many other options to deliver incredible value. I mean, contractor websites, you just look at the far majority of their websites and they're either non-existent or completely useless, or the only option that they do is drive somebody to a phone number where you get no damn response.
Exactly.
I mean, so just giving some websites and setting up some simple lead capture forms with some simple follow-up mechanisms, organizing the people who call and get captured actually into a CRM so that people can easily see, hey, here are the people that I need to get back in touch with. Like, just basic stuff like that has so much value, let alone AI, which is incredible. So I mean, I think you're very wise, and everybody would be very wise to consider, what are the other options that I can use to get my foot in the door where I can deliver great value fast, but I can also give myself some flexibility. Right. I would love everybody to have 3 foot in the doors so that if one isn't, really working or resonating or whatever, you go to the other 2 and it gives you an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. One quick thought and a very simple question. We'll let you go. We don't want to hog the space here, but when we got involved with High Level in 2020, when we got involved with Rob Bailey, who you know well.
Yep.
And that was all text, man. It was like, he had the whole, him and Haplin Hills and the gang over there. And it was just like, this is the SHIT right here, man.
Absolutely.
And we're still, fond memories of all that and still, support them.
Of course.
Really pushed us in another direction with our agency. And so then the quick question I got is price point on this. It seems like the sweet spot's somewhere, south of 500, depending on how complex you get. 497 sounds better than 500. Does that sound fair to you in terms of the offer with the basic essentials of what the AI receptionist can do?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could go anywhere from 97 and make it, more usage based, and as they scale up, then you can charge more and give them do an unlimited plan. I think there's a couple of ways to skin it, right, so that you can make sure it's very attractive. I think anywhere from that 97 to 497 range is going to be really high ROI for most small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
There are a decent number of small businesses, maybe not contractors, because they actually, I'd say contractors of all small businesses have a chance to make some really good money. But if you're a restaurant and you're a low ticket restaurant, $497 a month, could actually feel like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. So depending on the market that you're going after, but doing some sort of usage base to get them seeing the value and then get them up to a higher plan, I think is, a really good opportunity. So, but yes, I mean, generally with small businesses, between 97 and 697 a month is kind of your sweet spot range. As soon as you go above that price point, you need to be delivering something that's got
a little more.
Yeah. It's got some complexity, a variety of benefits to it, that type of thing. Or it's a higher volume business where it can really have an ROI impact that's measurable. So if you're a 75 person law firm and you're somehow able to create a voice AI solution for them where they can, that's a business that can do a ton of phone calls. Mm-hmm. So if there's something that you can create for them, then yes, absolutely, you could be charging significantly higher price points and they could still go, well, yeah, the ROI is obvious though. You're saving us one receptionist that is 75 grand fully loaded and ends up taking too much time off and sick days and annoys us and says stupid things, so so it just depends on the kind of business that you're going after. But yes, I do think that that's a good price point.
And 97 all you can eat plan per sub-location with high level makes that pretty
you've got a lot of flexibility. Yeah. And that pricing, they're gonna do everything that they possibly can to be as competitive as they possibly can with that pricing. So you can guarantee high level is they're gonna make this as easy as they possibly can on you, as they're always smart to do, right? They keep their prices as low as possible, get you in there. And so
Sean Clark actually took our sales call. That's how far back we go.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Well, his demo or whatever it was.
That's awesome.
That was great. Look at how far we've come. But
that's great.
Well, thank you so much, as always, man.
Of course.
Appreciate it. Value your time and your expertise, man.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Get out there and get after it. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, Sachin. Thank you for waiting, sir. How are you? Oop, you're on mute. Hold on. Let me unmute you. That's my bad. There you go. Nope. Still can't hear. Hold on. Try on your end. Can't hear you still. I've got everything unmuted here. Nope.
I'm unmuted as well.
There you go. Now I can hear you.
Yeah. Great. Hi. How are you doing?
Good.
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah. So I've got 3 questions, if that's okay.
Of course.
And 2 are sort of following on from the boot camp yesterday.
Great.
I'll start off with the easy one.
Okay.
So I've been thinking for a while now about trying to start a YouTube channel to provide thought leadership, key insights.
Love it.
My core niche is hospitality, so restaurants, pubs, QSRs, coffee shops, etc.
Love it.
So I've been thinking about trying to get a channel going and giving just tips and advice on marketing, etc. So what I wanted to ask you was that in terms of trying to create a channel and grow it, or is it better to do it under your own kind of personal name or under your actual brand name of your agency or whatever? Or
either one works just fine. I wouldn't do it under the agency brand name unless the agency brand name is something that's kind of catchy for those restaurants. You know what I mean? So I would, if I was going to give it a brand name, it would be like Restaurant Growth Strategies or, I mean, something like that. Even if that's not the name of your agency, that's totally fine. I would hate to see if the name of your agency is, Q&R, Q&R Restaurant Marketing Systems, Inc., I would hate for you to have a YouTube channel name that's something like that. That would be a disaster because on YouTube,
the agency or the brand is actually INSY, INSY. I've actually just relaunched it at the beginning of this year, and so yeah, the brand is in INSY, and under INSY,
I wouldn't do it under that brand. I mean, that's a totally fine name. That's totally fine for your business. I would do it like restaurant growth, market, restaurant growth videos, or something like that, or I would just do it under your name. And the reason to do it under your name, so like I switched mine was like Services That Scale, and I switched it to Mike Cooch YouTube a while ago. The reason why I did that is because I knew that for me personally, I'm going to be in this entrepreneurship game forever. And so I wanted to have the flexibility of people associating with me as the brand name, so that when I'm doing something else 7 years from now, that I would have that flexibility to transition that audience, or at least a good portion of that audience, to something else. So that's the reason. And people still connect primarily with people, even more so in today's world. They connect with people versus brands. So I think, or really, people become the brands, right? So I just think that's an ideal way to do it if, again, you are thinking long-term that, hey, this is something that I'm going to keep on doing on YouTube, even if I kind of switch directions a little bit. If you're thinking, though, I'm going to do this business for 4 years and try and sell it, then it might be best to give it a brand that is a more sellable brand on YouTube, instead of just you personally, so that the future buyer will probably see more value in that then of acquiring the YouTube channel as part of the deal.
Right. Okay. Yeah, great. All right. Thank you. So second question is following on from yesterday's boot camp. You spoke about having a upfront setup fee, surge, etc. But yesterday you mentioned that you were going to say something about
I remembered as I was talking about it earlier on this call that I forgot to do that. So I'm going to record you a separate video and put it in there.
Okay, yeah. I was just curious to know what your tactics were, where you said something you don't necessarily have to charge it, but you give them some sort of offer or tactic, or some, I guess it's some sort of like kind of buy-in tactic or something.
Yeah. So let me summarize it for you, and then I'm going to get you that video. So the summary of it is, I always present and suggest that you present up to 3 options in terms of how they can pay. So I always present some sort of upfront fee. Okay. And so the options would be, you can pay the upfront fee and then start on the monthly as soon as we're ready to have you activated. So it's $2,500 plus $497, $2,500 due today, $497 due as soon as we get you up and activated and we kick off the services. And then it's monthly after that. They could say, $2,500 can't, afford to come out of pocket on that right now. I'm fine with the $497. You could say, well, we don't typically tie our customers into any sort of contracts because we want to give you the most flexibility and all that. But what we can do is, if you agree to a year term, or maybe make an 18-month term or 24-month term, whatever you want to do, what we can do then is we can waive that upfront fee, because we know that we have the confidence of having you as a customer for that period of time, and that will be okay for our business. So you could do it that way. So you're tying them into a longer agreement, which is nice. And then the other option that I present is giving them the opportunity to just pay everything in advance, because for a discount, because there's a decent number of small businesses out there that, even though, as the gentleman mentioned earlier, even though they're small, they're actually making good money and have good cash, and they'll take a discount to pay everything in advance, and then you get a nice cash bump. So
yeah, that third option, actually, I'm exploring that because I've also recently signed up with Boomerang. So we're offering a digital loyalty as a standalone product, and I've just recently signed up my first sort of customer for that product.
Awesome.
And I gave them the list price of X per month, and plus Y for additional locations. But then I said, tell you what, because I already know you and we've got an existing relationship, I'll do you a special offer, and if you're willing to pay up front for 12 months, then you can have it for, I think I said 525 for the whole year for the first 12 months.
It's great.
Yeah, I was trying to give the offer just to, and my thinking was that if I can get my first 3 or 4 customers in that way where they pay annual up front, then I've covered my baseline costs for the software license, and then afterwards can just try and get more customers and more monthly recurring revenue, and hopefully should be just profit onwards.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, having that upfront cash surge option is fantastic. It saved my bacon several times in my early days of my business, where it was like all of a sudden I got a $45,000 check, and that was the cash I needed to survive. So, you can absolutely, I was shocked the first time I made that pitch, and this customer that I thought was kind of cheap and stingy, and all of a sudden they sent me a check for almost 50 grand. And I was just like, I don't even know what's going on here. Like, but they had a ton of cash, and they were just tough negotiators most of the time. So when they got a deal, they happily paid it. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So the third question is, it's sort of similar to just the 2 previous chaps who were just on, and it's around the AI employee. And what happened to me just this week was, 2 weeks ago, I was invited to go on a hospitality tech podcast, and off the back of the podcast, following that, I received an inquiry from a prospect. And during the podcast, I did a live demo of the AI employee, and we've set up the AI employee for a restaurant scenario. So I did this demo on this podcast. Somebody heard it, gets in touch. This person happens to own 3 restaurant brands, and for one of his brands, they've got 5 locations. So I have a conversation with him, and he's expresses his interest in the AI employee and says that he's got a lot of technology in the business, but this is probably like a gap that probably needs filling. So I think I slightly screwed it up, because when he asked me how does it all work, so I said, well, actually the AI employee is like a bolt-on feature to the overall system, and for we've got this all-in-one system, so generally it requires a subscription to our package. You get all these done for you services and the system tools, and then the AI employee would be a bolt-on top of that. But then after the call, I realized, I think I've messed this up, because if he's clearly just interested in that one service, then I should have been ready with that. And then it got me thinking that, well, actually going forward, how can we actually now offer the AI employee as maybe just a foot in the door service, and how can we kind of package it and price it? But my challenge is that I'm on the 297 plan with high level, so I can't rebuild with markup on if I go on the pay-as-you-go model. But obviously, high level offer the unlimited plan for the AI employee, which is $97. And then, so if we set up a sub account just for this, we would have to pay the $97. And we also use WAGHL for WhatsApp. So we pay $29 for that. And then if we were to include, say, $10 for phone usage as a complimentary credit, so our total cost to operate that sub account will be just over $100. And if we want to make 68% gross margin, we're looking at selling it at a price point at around
$297.
Something like that. Well, I think my numbers came to 425. So then I started to think, well, that at that kind of price point for, say, a restaurant business, am I pricing myself out the market? And would a independent restaurant would they be willing to pay that sort of money for this type of service?
So you should absolutely offer AI as a foot in the door. AI receptionist, AI voice is a foot in the door. Absolutely. You should upgrade to 497 as soon as you possibly can. I mean, if there's any reason why you're not doing that and you have any customers at all, I would say it doesn't make sense. I mean, as soon as you have just a few customers, it makes sense to be at the 497 instead of the 297.
Right.
So I would do that right away.
On the high level platform, we've got 3 paying customers at the moment.
I would personally go ahead and upgrade to the 497. You're going to have so much more control over margins of those additional services. I would just do it right away.
Okay.
You can stall on that a little bit longer, but I would not consider that a limitation, because that's just your short-term financial limitation. So don't let that drive your offers. That doesn't make sense to let that drive your offers at your business. And then, yeah, I mean, just offer AI. Don't do it unlimited to start. Don't do the 97 unlimited. Just charge them to use the service. And then as they get to a certain point, you can say, hey, look, for $397 a month, we can just give you unlimited. So you're not having to worry about the charges.
Right.
Like, we don't have to offer unlimited to everybody right out of the gate. So
Okay.
you could just do it that way to start. You could also, if there's any other services that customer is potentially going to be interested in, you could offer it at 97 and do unlimited. And so you're not making any money on it, but you're getting your foot in the door. You're getting the customer relationship. That's something to test. I'm not saying that that's a long-term solution, but it's something that, you could absolutely test. But also, a 297 just AI service, unlimited, is huge ROI. A 197, right? And so now you're making $100 off of it. It's not 67% gross margins, which I know is the rule that I want you to typically stick with. But if that's your foot in the door, and it's a very attractive foot in the door, and so it accelerates your sales and marketing cycle considerably because you're getting a lot of traction from it, and you're making 50% margins, and 50% margins on a completely automated service, and now you've got customer relationships that you can expand, and a percentage of those you are going to expand, run with it. I mean, do not let don't get too, stuck in the rules here.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You better to like less margin, and with this a prospect like this, he's got 5 locations for one brand, and then who knows who else he's connected to in the restaurant trade. So if he's happy with the service, if he gives me 2 or 3 other referrals, I can always sell them at the full price or something.
And it's a successful business. I'm sure you're going to expand into additional services with them. So,
yeah. So you said you've got a lot of experience with restaurants, and I imagine the way I was trying to look at it, how to sort of show them the value is that if they operate for about, say, 8 to 10 hours a day, and they've got 3-4 different staff, they're employing staff on minimum wage. I don't know in the US what minimum wage is per hour, but here in the UK it's around £12 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to calculate, like, if they had one dedicated person just answering the phone for the duration of their operating hours, they would pay a lot more in wages than they would for a monthly service to have an AI employee answer the phone and answer all those.
Of course. Yeah, the ROI for them should be just completely blatantly obvious. I mean, you can absolutely put it out to them and say, hey, look, let's say that you had one, minimum wage employee that had to answer phone. But yes, the ROI for anybody who actually experiences the service, any business owner should go, yeah, duh, sign me up.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Cheers.
All right, let's see here. I'm going to do a couple in the comments here. Jonathan asks, other than ads, what's a good way to fill your funnel? Jonathan, my favorite way is value-added content. You're putting content out there, put it on social media. You can then promote that content with ads to give it, more amplification. That's a real good idea. And you can get a lot of bang for your buck by doing that versus like running an ad for an offer. That's going to be a much more expensive thing to advertise versus if you put up a good blog post or a good video and you just spend a few dollars a day boosting that, you can get a lot of visibility and traction that way. So that's the number one way. Doing webinars, hosting, like free training webinars, where you can attract people to that training is fantastic. Again, for the most part, you're going to use some sort of ads to get those out there, unless you're just hustling organically on social media. If you're good and you've got time, if you're good at hustling just organically on social media, I mean, you can get unlimited visibility. Like if you really know how to do that and take the time to do that, if not, paying for ads is the shortcut to get that visibility without having to do all that hustle. And then, the other ways, Jonathan, are just cold prospecting, right? Cold email, cold phone calls. I hate both of those in today's world, but they can still work. And cold email in particular can be done with a lot of scale, very, very affordably. So it's not a bad option. I say I hate them just because I personally no longer enjoy doing those things or receiving those things. But they still can work. Absolutely. Okay, cool. Cold emailing at the moment. Yeah. So anything with the word cold, Jonathan, it's not going to have nearly the impact on your business as something that attracts, right? Good content, good value add. The most important thing that you can do in today's world from a marketing perspective is just freely put out value in the form of content. That is what attracts people to you and differentiates your brand. So you got to consider, like, Jonathan, I have no idea how many cold emails I get every day. It's so obnoxious, and nobody gets a response from me. There is zero chance I'm reading anybody's cold emails because I get 100 of them a day. Why would I spend my time doing that? And what would differentiate, one cold email from the other to me? Nothing. But I buy stuff all day, every day. I'm a fantastic customer. I buy stuff all the time. But what I buy is the people that I see putting interesting content online. I go, that looks interesting. I follow the rabbit hole, and next thing I know, I'm a customer, right? So that's the way the world works today. And fighting that is only sensible as a very short-term option, in my opinion. Anything else is going the way of the dodo quickly. So that's my opinion on that. That's what your wife says. Good. Listen to your wife. She sounds smart. Matt Gordon, my man. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you there.
Long time listener, first time caller. Hey, Mike.
It's great to see you.
Wanted to kind of make a statement before my question is, I was thinking the other day during the sales pitch boot camp, in case anybody needs to hear this, your critiques of the agency business model are just so right on. And it's a trap that it's all too easy to fall into, to just kind of revert to doing things like that. Yeah. And I spent an embarrassingly long amount of time beating my head against the wall, and thinking it was more me than the business model. Maybe it was me to some extent, but it was just a losing game.
Yeah.
And so your critiques of that and your solution for that, I think, are just so dead on accurate. And I just wanted to have someone say that out loud.
I'm glad that you are. Thank you so much. More and more people need to hear it. People need to hear it every day. I've been saying the same thing for 15 years now, and it's still the exact same message, because you're right. It is so easy to get lured into, especially you see all these charismatic guys out there publishing YouTube videos and selling you courses and stuff like that, where it's like, I can show you how to get a high-end this or that. And it's like, well, of course, why wouldn't I want a high ticket, customer that is paying me X dollars for some custom thing that I'm going to do or whatever, versus Mike telling me I should be selling stuff at $397, $497 a month. And, there's all kinds of reasons why, but it can be very alluring to see those promises and get trapped in that, as you said.
Well, my biggest problem with the high-end agency thing is I had a customer once at $3,300 a month, a little plus some other things on top of that. But what nobody tells you is you're going to wake up every morning scared to death that they're going to cancel.
Yep.
You know,
You get if you're lucky enough to get 3 or 4 of those, and all of a sudden you're like, "Whew, I'm doing great," and then one of them cancels, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, what do I
25%
have to
of my
cut
revenue
now?"
just walked out the door, you know, and
Exactly.
I remember on Mad Men once, Don Draper said something like, every client leaves. That's what they do. Like,
That's right. That's
so
right.
anyway, my question has to do a little bit with content marketing.
Yeah.
I have this fear of coming across like the dentist where every Facebook post is about remembering to floss your teeth, you know, and so after doing this for so long, I've got, you know, a lot of, I guess, what you could call war stories that are dumb things I've done, dumb things clients have done, smart things that we've done as well. Um,
Mhm.
and I want to kind of like start, you know, publishing stories like that. I think I can make them interesting and funny a lot of the time, but I don't want to be perceived as like picking on someone that didn't know what I know, like punching down.
Mhm.
Like, how do I avoid that tone? I don't want to be, you know, grumpy Dan Kennedy. Like that's not
Yeah.
me. So
Yeah.
how do I do this in a way without pointing fingers and saying, "Oh, weren't they stupid?"
Yeah. So I think there's just a little bit of creativity here that you can figure out by experimenting a little bit. But what comes to mind is one, yeah, you don't want to be boring, floss your teeth, and you don't want to come across as, like you said, punching down. So a couple of things. I think one, the boring side of things, you can just inject personality, do videos where you're injecting personality, that type of thing. And I think showing like there's some people out there right now doing a very very good job where they're actually recording videos where they're going out and like visiting local businesses and recording what they're seeing and finding and talking to people and stuff like that and turning that into some sort of instructional lesson. And they don't even have to be your clients, right? They can just be businesses that you see, hey, these guys are doing this particular tactic or strategy that we advocate. They're doing it really well. And so let me show you how that can impact the business. And so again, it doesn't even have to be a client that you're using to demonstrate that. You can just say, hey, one of the most important things that you should always be building your list. And there are 7 ways that we teach businesses that they should be building their list. And I want to show you these guys are doing a fantastic job. And blah, 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 blah. And no wonder that they have 6 locations. Congratulations to them. Every small business should be doing this too. If you'd like some help, we can help you. Right. So you can, you can teach the strategies, show them working, and it doesn't even have to be a client and still be very successful for you. It's still, you're getting the credit for sharing the message with the consumer. And then I think in terms of the not punching down, I think that there's one, I don't think that you're going to come across as a punching down kind of person. So there's limited concern about that just by the nature of who you are. Dan Kennedy comes across as a curmudgeon, right? And then I think that, you can, like, I'm just trying to think of examples of like, you can say, here's like an anonymous business that was doing X, and then we're able to then get them here by doing Y. So you could do it that way if you felt like you needed to make it anonymous. I think with an existing client where you've improved something, though, I think that you can show a before and after and not do it in a punching down. These guys were really dumb before they came across us. Like, you're just not going to come across that way. But I also think again, like you could anonymize a business that you're talking about, so it doesn't have to be a client of yours. You could just I could easily do a San Diego video where I'm like, hey, San Diego restaurant owners, look, a big cause of business loss for you is you're simply not picking up the phone. I'm not going to name any names here, but watch this. And I could do boop, 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 and I could just do a little demonstration video, calling business restaurant number 1, restaurant number 2, restaurant number 3, no answer, no answer, no answer. You're missing 60% of your business because you're missing 60% of your phone calls. Let us show you how to, do that. So I think that there's just creative ways to create this content where you could accomplish what you are trying to accomplish without coming across the way that you're concerned about.
Okay. Great.
It just
Thank
takes
you.
a little practice, you know. It's one of those things. Go out and find somebody else that you think is doing a version of it pretty well, and you know, kind of pick up what you can.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. It's good to see you. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Let's see here. My man Dawson. How are you? Good to see you, sir.
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Rampage Video. I like the name.
Thank you. That's my other brand.
I like it. How are you?
Good. I made some progress in the business. I'll give you an update.
Great. Yeah, let's hear it.
I did some in-person booths, and the in-person experience, maybe 2 or 3 times, I got out to the local art market and set up a booth and put my frame photos out there for home decor.
Nice.
I can attract the audience that's foot traffic, and through my networking events, I would talk to real estate agents, home stagers, and designers and then I'll bring everyone to me. That's the plan. So this is phase 1 of the business, is the in-person part, and yeah, it's so far it's just slowly picking up.
Good. Yeah, I like it. I think you know, showing up at in-person events where there's a good concentration of the type of customer that you're going after, and then having an opportunity to get actual face time with those people, it's an old school tactic that is still really, really effective, and a lot of people are ignoring right now because everybody's so focused on digital that you can really stand out and grab some low-hanging fruit that way.
And then I have some potential customers who want to come by on a Sunday. I have to talk to the coordinator to set me up back there again. I think I have to do it every Sunday or so. And I'm a weekly vendor right now, and I still do some digital on the side. But I take the lemonade stand, you know, approach, and like I'm getting out there and taking action and getting the face-to-face feedback, that which I can amalgamate into a digital strategy once I have some more experience in person.
I love it, man. I think it's fantastic.
It's a very intuitive way of doing it. It's very different than what most people do, but I just find that that's the way that I feel that it should go. And it's a paradox, because like, to be an artist or something, like you need to have a name, but have a name, you need to be an artist.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, you need to get experience. Okay, what's my experience? Okay, now I'm going to have a portfolio of places that I've been to, and the experience I have, and then I'm the person with the name. Because when I talk to auctioneers who auction art for a lot of money, they're like, well, you have to auction off if you have experience. And so it's two streets.
Yeah.
So I'm going on the one way street.
Yeah. Well, you're getting out there and getting after it and getting momentum and engaging with real human beings. And I think that's always, like, for me personally, the number one way to grow my business here locally is to just be out in the market myself. Go to the restaurants, go to the events, just see people, say hi to people, shake hands. That's the number one way that activity always grows for my business if I'm doing something locally. Just like to do something digitally for me, it's, you know, posting videos on YouTube. Like, that's the number one way. It's just getting your face out there. And so in a local market, yes, if you can get out there and just actually engage with people, it adds energy. It adds energy to you, is my guess, because there's nothing worse than sitting around in your office just kind of wondering, what the heck should I do, and feeling like you're stuck. When you get out there and you actually interact with people, it can add a ton of energy and confidence to you, as well as adding activity into your pipeline. So I'm a big fan.
You're definitely right about that, but I'm also not a Neanderthal as well. I have about 100 hours of on-air live YouTube experience. I've been on 80 channels as part of Rampage Video, and just about 200 just about 2 million social media views. And
Awesome.
so now I'm going to start live, doing some live streams and off the cuff, because I just love the intuition part of it. This is where I thrive.
That's awesome, man. I love it. Get after it.
And then I could feed that into the funnel of the in person, and then I could advertise in person to feed the digital. So it's going to be like this loop.
I love it.
I wanted to ask you. I think you met the CEO of High Level a couple weeks ago. How was that?
Oh, the call that we did?
Yeah, the call.
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, you should watch it. I mean, Sean is super smart, super down to earth. I always take away a few very important things from any conversation with him. So I would definitely recommend when you get an opportunity to watch it. Yes.
What was something that stuck out for you there? Any takeaways?
I think that the simplicity of the approach of getting most agencies successful is actually, very in alignment with what you just discussed, which is get out into the market, in your local market, and talk to people, engage in the community, go to the events, speak at the chambers, do whatever it is that you can just do to get that initial momentum locally, as well as leveraging, friends and family and previous relationships that you have, just making sure that you are not being quiet about your business. A lot of people start and then they just kind of start in this lane, and they're not reaching out to all the people that they know with enthusiasm and saying, hey, look, I started this new business. I'm very excited about it. I would love to have your support if it makes sense. If nothing else, you could just help spread the word. Like just doing those basic things, those basic just blocking and tackling to get momentum and get your first deals and get some revenue coming in. It's still what he sees as those are the top ways to get a business started. So
I'm getting close to getting those first little revenues. Speaking of getting louder, let me see if I'm at Comic-Con right now. I'm at Comic-Con in Toronto.
Awesome.
Let's see if I could switch the camera over here.
Yeah. Show us what you got.
Facing back. Just can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just at Comic-Con right now.
Nice.
So talk about getting in the in person here.
Yeah, you're getting in the action. That's great, man.
Yeah, I'm still eating Taco Bell right now, but pretty soon I'll be having a nice steak.
That's good. I'm sure you will.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon.
Of course, man. It's great to see you. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, let's see here. Any advice or resources for hiring part-time help for delivery of system setup? Is Upwork the best option? Finding myself burning a lot of time learning the technical stuff. Yeah, Joseph, this is a great question. This is a common problem. You definitely want to make sure that you're spending 80% of your waking hours on sales and marketing, 20% on the technical stuff. I always tell this story to try to get people to think about this differently. When I started my IT management company, Everon, I'm completely useless with computers. I mean, I could use computers, but I could not set up a network. I could not, configure a computer. I couldn't do any of that myself. And I started one of the fastest growing businesses in the country providing IT management. Why? Because in my mind, there was zero chance that I could learn all the technical stuff. So I just didn't even get that. It didn't even occur to me that that was an option. So all I did was sell and market, because that was the only thing that I could do to add value to the company, was to sell and market. And so as soon as I possibly could, I found somebody that could help with all of the other stuff. And I literally, this is no joke, and this gentleman still works with me to this day. We've been working together now for like 20 years. I literally hired him, sat him down, and I said, sometime in the next month, I'm going to make that phone ring with somebody who needs help, and you better take care of their computer problems or we're out of business. That was literally the conversation I had, because I was just like, dude, I'm just going to go out and do the hustle. I'm just going to be selling. I'm going to be cold calling. I'm going to be networking. I'm going to be printing a newsletter and sending it out. I'm doing all the things. At some point or another, I'm going to get somebody, right? And you got to do this side of things. So you told me you could help people with computers really well. I'm counting on you. There are lots of resources and people out there that are absolutely obsessed with all of the technical side of high level that will gladly help you. And many of them are incredibly affordable, Joseph, because they live in other parts of the world. So yes, I think Upwork is a fantastic option. Reaching out, just posting in the high level community, hey, I'm looking for somebody who will do these things for me on a part-time basis. You will get flooded with people responding to you because there is a huge marketplace of people in there trying to hire themselves out. You could look in HL Pro Tools. You could look into Extendly. Those are two, very successful companies in this space that provide some sort of technical help and outsourcing services. So you've got a lot of options. And I think the most important thing, the mindset of I don't have to learn and do all of this myself. And everybody else on this call, anybody else who's in my community, if you can get clear about what role you're going to have in your business to add the most value, to generate the most revenue, and you can stick to that, that is the way that you are going to have the greatest success at your business. For most founders, that is something on the sales and marketing side. Most founders from a startup perspective, they're the people who, they've got the vision for the business. They get that vision out into the marketplace and they generate the initial revenue, right? So it's not to say that you can't learn a good amount of this stuff. And you can, I do, like I can sit in high level and I can work in high level all day long. But is that the best use of my time? Absolutely not. Because there are lots of people who can sit in high level and work on it all day long and do a great job, do a better job than me. There's not a lot of people that are really good at driving revenue. And that's what I can do, right? I can bring the energy to the sales and marketing and I can drive revenue. That's a harder thing to find. And usually as a founder, that's going to be your best use of your time and energy. Not in all cases, but in most cases, that's true. And even if it's not true, even if long-term you're like, no, I'm going to be the technical guru behind the scenes, I'm going to hire some salespeople. Okay, but you're probably not going to just hire some salespeople right out of the gate. You probably don't have the money to do that. That's very difficult to do in today's world. Successful salespeople are not easy to come by and keep. So most likely you're going to have to do this sales thing for a period of time to get your business off the ground and generating as much cash as you want. And then you'll have options. So yes, long answer to your question, but there's plenty of options out there and please do take advantage of them. Okay. I don't see any other questions in the comments. I'm going to check our community real quick, but if you have any other questions, please feel free to load them in there. And I'm going to check the community to see what we got going on over here. Zoom meetings, not an option in the calendar. Hey, everyone, this is from Scott. I'm going through and trying to set up my R6 sales calendar. However, it does not give me the option of selecting Zoom in the meeting location. So you can't, you won't select Zoom, but you will just put a Zoom link in there, Scott. So if you just go into Zoom and you just get your little permanent start a meeting link, then you can just put that as the location. Just use a custom value and put the custom value as the location. And then, put that Zoom link into your custom value settings. So that's what I do. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what the high level team does. So that's a simple solution there. Question for office hours. Oh, you're right here, Sachin. So we answer those. Most people asking about the boot camp this week. Hadi, I hope I'm saying that right, asks, I would love to know, as I'm designing mine, what do you guys include in your core package? Need some guidance and inspiration. Okay, cool. Let me pull up my package design sheet here and share my screen. So you have, you have a lot of options, and that's probably the toughest thing, is that you could, your core offer could be just about anything. And so, it's hard to say that you should have these things in your core offer. But let me just share some thoughts on this that may help give you some direction. Okay. So if you are selling what I recommend, which is you are selling systems as a service, okay, instead of software as a service and instead of agency services, you're selling systems as a service, then I would recommend that you follow my R6 approach, just for ease and simplicity, to help get you momentum. You can always take your own approach later after you have some experience, but I organize those systems according to these 5 R's. It's the R6, but one of those R's is readiness. It's the reliability. It's the reliability of the business that you're working with and delivering a good customer experience. So that's not your responsibility, that's their responsibility. So the 5 R's that we help with: reputation, readiness, resell, remarketing, and reach. Okay, so you're essentially organizing your capabilities around these 5 systems. Depending on what you're selling and who you're selling to, and when I say what you're selling, you could decide that you just want to be a reputation-focused service provider. You could do that. There's nothing wrong with that. So then you could limit yourself to these things and designing services that are around these things. You could say, no, I'm going to help with these businesses across these 5 R's. Okay, cool. So then your core packages could include stuff from across all 5 R's. You could skin that multiple ways. The simplest way, I believe, right here, is this. And a lot of people freak out about this, but why not just put all R6 capabilities in your system and then charge them a different price based on the number of team members that access the system? And essentially the summary is charge them based on usage. How many people are using the system, and how much are you using the system in terms of resell services, SMS, calls, emails, AI, things like that, right? It's a very, very simple pitch, because it's, hey, look, we're going to give you all of the capabilities of our system. We're not going to hold anything back, and you're just paying us a different price based on how much you use it, how many team members and stuff like that. That's just like a super simple version of it. So you could say, well, Mike, all R6 capabilities, like that's so much stuff. Well, yeah, I'm not saying that you have to offer everything in this list. So again, who are you selling to? If you tell me you're selling to restaurants, well, you probably don't need newsletters, right? But birthday campaigns and anniversary campaigns are really smart. You don't need estimates, because typically restaurants aren't sending out estimates unless it's a higher end restaurant and they're doing birthday parties and things like that. Catering, okay. But if it's a quick service restaurant, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do invoicing, right? You don't need to give them funnel access. You don't need to give them workflow access, but you will set up funnels and workflows for them, using this. So you've got to go through and use your judgment and say, for the businesses that I'm selling to, what do I want to actually be marketing as I'm including in my system? You have lots of, again, flexibility, but you have to make that decision by saying, who am I serving and what is my value proposition? Then your core package should match that. If you're not offering ads, then don't offer ads. If you're not offering blog posts, then don't include that in here, right? Don't include direct mail, because you're not doing direct mail for them. So this is just a big list to help you generate your possible ideas, but you're going to tailor the ultimate outcome of that list to who you're serving, what's your core value proposition. Your core value proposition can be generally what I think is a fantastic one, which is, hey, Small businesses need systems to be successful. The reason you're not growing is because you don't have marketing systems. Okay? Let me give you the marketing systems to be successful. It's a great pitch. It applies to everybody. Now, if I was going just after restaurants and I had that core value proposition, I would go through my capabilities and I would say, okay, well, which of these really apply to quick service restaurants? And I would hone the list down, but start with that R6 that I'm giving you and then work from there. And then again, over time, as you get experience with your customers and your market, tweak that however you want to be the best fit for you and your knowledge and your experience. Okay? Hope that helps you. Where do I access the latest released R6 content? Inside of High Leverage Agency. Robert, inside of High Leverage Agency. Okay? Brock says, I had that question from a prospect. What does it matter how many users I have? It is the same system, and I am paying for the use separately. I spoke about support, but that's not so solid. That's pretty darn solid. I mean, you've got to support and train those users and stuff. There's a cost to that for you, for sure. But I will say, Brock, that it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite way to charge. It's common, so most people won't question it like that prospect did. But really, if they have 20 people in there using the system every day, and you're charging them with the resell, great. I don't care to charge you per person. Fantastic, because they're all in there using the system. Their usage is going to go up, and you're going to make more money. So it's not something that you need to be real worried about. I just think it's a commonly accepted way of charging more. It is. So whether or not, though, you need to do it, I mean, gosh, if I had a business that had a bunch of users and they're in there using the system and taking advantage of all of our services, you know, as long as you are packaging your services correctly to charge for the resell of email, SMS, phone, AI, then the more the merrier. You could have 100 people in there going crazy. I will gladly take it because I'm just going to be charging more on the resale rates. So in some ways, she's right. And you'd be wise to listen to her. All right. Awesome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of my community. I always appreciate you. I appreciate your business. I hope that this was valuable for you. If you have any questions between now and our next office hours, please put them into the community and my team and I will get to them as soon as we possibly can. And let's see here. This next week, I'm traveling again. This is my last trip for a while. And so I'm not exactly sure when office hours is, but please pay attention to any updates on the calendar and we will be sure and broadcast those and let you know. And I hope you can join me. Otherwise, again, post questions inside the community and we will get to you there. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a fantastic day, fantastic weekend. Get out there and get after it. And we will see you on our next call and in the community in the meantime. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.